Snow Shadow, the sword shadow stays. Chapter 1. The white clothes step on the dust, and the sword opens the sky. The moon is like a wash, the sky is cloudless, and a touch of white clothes is like a butterfly fluttering to the ground, and the name is Ling Xiao. The plain clothes are elegant, the air is like a quiet orchid, and there is indifference and coldness that is not stained with dust between the eyebrows and eyes. He is the first person in sword cultivation, and the world calls him out of the dust, but no one knows that he is crossing into a book of Dianjia Ziuchen, carrying an irreversible mission. Ling Xiao's task is simple but difficult, to stop the blackening of the original male protagonist, Yan Baikan. Yan Baikan was born in a famous family and was talented, but he was imprisoned by his family and endured unimaginable loneliness and depression. Originally, he was supposed to follow the story and sink into a killing maniac, but Ling Xiao wanted to reverse this mortal fate. The task given to you by the system is unique, to save him and also to save the balance of this world. An icy chime sounded in Ling Xiao's mind, reminding him of the urgency of his task. When Yan Baikan saw Ling Xiao for the first time, there were more doubts and disbelief in his eyes. This man dressed in white, acting calmly and rationally, seemed to only care about interests and results, and was as cold as frost outside the sky. But Ling Xiao didn't care about his prejudices, and silently accompanied him, starting from the most basic swordsmanship instruction to years of practice. Your sword burns like the Sunday. Ling Xiao whispered, his fingers gently brushing the old scar accumulated on Yan Baikan's back due to the injury. This injury, don't let it become a shackle to your soul. Yan Baikan has never met such a person, neither hypocrisy, but purely concerned about his growth. That touch of snow-like tenderness slowly took root in his heart. Chapter 2. The chains behind the genius. Yan Baikan's life experience is full of contradictions. His father's family is feudal and old-fashioned, and he is strictly imprisoned. He has amazing talents, but he has never been able to fly freely. Although his cultivation is high, his mind is like being locked in a copper lock, and he can't breathe. You should be free like this. Ling Xiao always accompanied him to study swordsmanship in the middle of the night, and the sword chi flowing in the snow was closely connected with his heart. Yan Baikan gradually opened his heart and trusted this cold but determined man. They have experienced countless sinkhole plots in the cultivation realm together, sect infighting, demonic conspiracies, and spiritual vain battles. Every time he fell to the bottom, Ling Xiao always supported him and taught him how to break free from the quagmire. You are like the scorching sun, and the road ahead is immeasurable. Ling Xiao's words became an inextinguishable beacon in Yan Baikan's heart. However, Yan Baikan still had a secret in his heart. His cultivation was locked by a golden bell, which was the imprisonment given to him by his family, as well as protection and cage. Chapter 3. Ruthless Love. As the years passed, Ling Xiao had already broken off his love. His path to ascension was destined to be lonely, and he did not allow emotional ties. But his company with Yan Baikan is as moisturizing and silent as water. Yan Baikan thought it was his wishful thinking, until many years later, when he discovered the tenderness that Ling Xiao was hiding behind his coldness. Sir, you never said how far you would go with me, but I believe in you. Yan Baikan's voice trembled slightly in anticipation. I'm just your sword cultivation teacher, leading you to cultivate all the way, holding that snow light. It's me who favors your fate. Ling Xiao whispered. At that moment, Yan Baikan smiled, his eyes were full of softness and firmness. He decided to protect this hard-won bond. Chapter 4. Heart Not Broken, Fate Reversed. Yan Baikan's blackening is not without a cause, but the distortion of endless pain and loneliness in his heart. On the night of the catastrophe, on the Taiji Palace, Tianwei was killed. Ling Xiao finally understood his mistake for many years. He thought that ruthlessness was the fate of cultivators, but he ignored the power of emotion. Yan Baikan held the golden bell lock in his hand and sealed Ling Xiao's cultivation to prevent him from flying easily. He hugged Ling Xiao's waist, clasped his fingers tightly, and his voice was crazy. Sir, life and death are inseparable, you said this. How can you take what you have given me? In this life and this life, I want you to be entangled with me for a long time. Rejoice together. Ling Xiao's sword was trembling, and his heart was tumbling like thunder. He saw Yan Baikan's pain distorted by love, and he also saw the unspoken persistence. Chapter 5. The snow reflects the sword, and the end of the world dances together. The wind is surging, and the cultivation realm is making waves again. Yan Baikan and Ling Xiao teamed up to fight against the endless conspiracy. The sword light reflected the sky, the snow light flowed, and the fate of the two was closely linked. Ling Xiao finally understands that ascension is not about cutting off emotions, but about a deeper understanding of life. You and I are the light and shadow between heaven and earth, inseparable. He said. Yan Baikan smiled, this time, his eyes were full of tenderness and trust. A man in white clothes brings wine, he laughs at the rich and powerful. With you in my life, the shadow of my sword will stay forever. Chapter 6 Locking the Complex, where the soul returns. The catastrophe storm on the Taiji Hall had not dissipated, and Ling Xiao was sealed and repaired by the golden bell lock, and his body gradually turned pale. He felt that the cold snow light in his heart was burning like a flame. Yan Baikan's words were like poison and honey, hitting his deepest obsession. Sir, you have never spoken the true emotions of your heart. Yan Baikan's eyes were full of tears, holding Ling Xiao's hand, his palm was as hot as fire. Ling Xiao was silent for a long time, and finally spoke in a low voice, I cultivate my sword for the Tao, and I don't allow emotions to get involved. I once thought that breaking love is the way to last for a long time. Now I know that what is broken is only obsession, and what is left is the root of the heart. The eyes of the two were intertwined, and the heavens and the earth seemed to freeze at this moment. Yan Baikan gently unlocked the golden bell, symbolizing that he was willing to let go of the shackles of the past and was ready to face the unknown challenges of the future with Ling Xiao. Chapter 7 Swords reflected in the snow. Dawn is coming. The cultivation was unlocked, and Ling Xiao's sword energy was strong, piercing the night sky like a cold star. Yan Baikan was also released from the shackles, with great momentum and high spirits. The two of them embarked on a new journey hand in hand, crossing the secret realm of the underworld and killing evil demons. Brother, why did you have the heart to let go back then? Yan Baikan asked. Ling Xiao smiled, because I used to think that letting go is protection. Now I understand that holding hands is power. In the depths of the netherworld, they met the legendary god of life and death, Xianbing. Xianbing stared at the two of them and said in a solemn tone, You have broken the shackles of fate, but the real trial has not yet begun. As the words fell, a dark shadow shrouded in, it was the ancient demon exiled from the underworld, the night calamity, to challenge the obsession in the hearts of the two. Chapter 8 The Shadow of the Night, the first appearance of the demon in the heart. The night disaster was raging, and the invisible black shadow penetrated into Ling Xiao and Yan Baikan's hearts like a tide. Ling Xiao felt unprecedented fear, and his sword chi became fragmented. Yan Baikan, have you ever doubted me? There was a crack in Ling Xiao's voice. Yan Baikan didn't answer, just hugged his waist, and his voice was low but firm, You are the scorching sun in my snow light, how can you be swallowed up by darkness? The two of them stood with their swords, and the sword light and black shadow intertwined like a nightmare. Ling Xiao finally understood that this battle was not only to kill the enemy demon, but also to cut the chains of his own fear and insecurity. The sword light pierced the night sky, scattering the black shadows, and the hearts of the two became more and more firm in the interweaving of sword shadows. Chapter 9 Love is deep and the sword is heavy, and the illusion is reborn. The night disaster receded, and the darkness of the netherworld gradually faded away. Ling Xiao and Yan Baikan smiled at each other, knowing that they had nothing to fear from each other. Ascension is no longer the end of loneliness, but a new beginning for each other. Ling Xiao said softly. Yan Baikan lowered his head and smiled, I have no regrets for this life and this sword. The two stepped out of the netherworld hand in hand, welcoming the first rays of dawn. Chapter 10 The Covenant of Destiny, Light and Shadow lasts forever. Back in the earthly world, Ling Xiao and Yan Baikan became legends in the cultivation world. Dressed in white like snow and sword like a rainbow, they jointly guard the balance of heaven and earth and guard each other's bonds. At a grand cultivation conference, Ling Xiao stood with his sword raised and said loudly, If there is light in the hearts of mortals, they can break the shackles of fate. Yan Baikan was beside him, his eyes were soft, like a beam of snow that would never go out, reflecting the whole world. The legend of the two has just begun. Chapter 11 The Great Tribulation of Immortals and Demons. Since ancient times, the cultivation realm has been divided into two factions of immortals and demons, and has maintained peace for hundreds of years. However, the dark tide has been surging recently, and the demon forces have quietly recovered, intending to overthrow the order of the fairy world. Ling Xiao and Yan Baikan joined hands to protect the common people and ushered in an unprecedented catastrophe. The leader of the demon race, Burning Flame, has a ruthless and cunning personality, and has the true chi of flames that burn heaven and earth. It intends to provoke a war between immortals and demons, so as to seize the spiritual power of the world. In the battle between immortals and demons, the bond between sword cultivation and genius has been challenged like never before. Yan Baikan was trapped in the Burning Flame illusion in the war, and his soul was on the verge of disintegration. Ling Xiao went through many dangers, and finally broke the illusion realm to rescue Yan Baikan, but he also suffered a lot of damage because of this. Whether it's life or death, I will share it with you. Yan Baikan held Ling Xiao's hand tightly, his voice like a loud bell, which gave Ling Xiao courage. Chapter 12, Light and Despair, Emerging from Cocoon to Butterfly. Ling Xiao, who had suffered a great loss in cultivation, was unable to participate in the next final battle, and Yan Baikan went to the Burning Flame Abyss alone to challenge the foundation of the demon race. Yan Baikan fought against the Burning Flame alone, and a flash of inspiration appeared in a desperate situation. He thought of Ling Xiao's teachings and protection over the years, and the snow light in his heart bloomed like a blazing sun, breaking through the darkness. In the end, Yan Baikan turned his sword into fire, Fen Yan was killed, the demons were defeated, and the fairy world returned to peace. Chapter 13, The Sword Road Soars, and the Snow Lasts Forever. After the war, Ling Xiao and Yan Baikan stood hand in hand on the top of Jianfeng Mountain, surrounded by snow and howling cold wind. Finally, we can embark on the ascension together. There was unprecedented tenderness in Ling Xiao's tone. Yan Baikan smiled. After the ascension, we will walk together. The two men concentrated their minds and gathered their energy, and the sword lights intertwined in the sky like snow, soaring into the sky. At this moment, they are no longer lonely sword cultivators and geniuses, but the most solid support in each other's lives. The perfect ending snow shines on the sword, and the world lasts for a long time. The rising light shrouded the heavens and the earth, and Ling Xiao and Yan Baikan entered the fairy world hand in hand. In the immortal realm, they created a new school of sword cultivation, the Snow Light Sword Sect, to inherit each other's sword intent and friendship. Many years later, there were many disciples under the Snow Light Sword Sect, and the sword aura lingered, as pure and brilliant as snow. Ling Xiao and Yan Baikan not only became kendo masters, but also became eternal legends in the cultivation world. You and I are like snow shining on a sword, and heaven and earth will never wither. The sky looked into the distance. Yan Baikan smiled and replied, this sword and I will stay with you forever. Postscript. This is a story of love and practice, bond and growth. Ling Xiao and Yan Baikan wrote a long and moving chapter with their sword and heart. Ascension is not the end, but another beginning. In this complex world of cultivation, only sincerity and companionship can break the shackles of fate and light up the never-extinguishing snow light. May all practitioners, no matter when and where, find a partner who is willing to spend life and death with them, go to the end of the world together, and share the joy of this life.